What's up, my friends? So today marks the 14th anniversary of when I was diagnosed with leukemia. Exactly half my life ago, I was diagnosed with a dis-ease, and I wanted to reflect on that. So I wanted to share a video, and I wanted to kind of explain a few things, not even explain, just talk about a few things that I've learned as a result of having leukemia, as a result of having cancer. A lot of times in life, it seems that the negative things in our life we tend to focus on. We're always looking at not having enough money, not having the health, not having the relationship, not having the whatever, those factors. And it seems like those things become so minuscule when you go through a difficult time in your life, whether that's you become homeless, or you have some type of illness, or you have some type of situation, circumstance that just causes, a near-death experience, something around those lines. And we start questioning everything that happens in our lives, and really what is important and what is not important. And so when I was first diagnosed, I was 14. I'm 28 right now. And I relapsed when I was 16. And I really didn't learn a whole lot the first time around. I learned to be strong. I learned to be tough. I learned to be resilient. I learned that ultimately I am the creator of my reality. And then the second time around, I got to interact with a lot more young children, family members of people who have gone through cancer, leukemia. If you ever want to feel grateful for your life, go into a children's oncology ward. I'm a firm believer that that's one thing that will change your perspective, at least for a week, before you fall into old behaviors of being ungrateful. And I still do it. Even having gone through it and experiencing it, sometimes I still have those experiences where I'm ungrateful for my life. And we all have that. That's just part of being human. So I'm just going to start rambling, and hopefully you enjoy. So what I really learned, like I said, was the strength. I learned to be strong. I learned that the resiliency comes from within, that no matter what anyone told me, that if I didn't have that internal belief that I would make it through my experience, make it through the chemo, the cancer, the dis-ease, then it was all over. I watched so many children, and not blaming any of them, but that just lost hope, lost that belief as a result of not feeling that they could do it. And they're no longer on this earth. They've reemerged into non-physical, and they'll come back and they'll do it again. They'll ride this roller coaster again. But I learned to be strong. I learned to be soft. I learned that it's necessary to feel, to have your emotions coursing through your body. But I also learned to not let them overcome me. And as I got older, I realized that my emotions were always came as a result of my thought processes and my belief systems. That if I felt or thought that I wasn't going to make it, I immediately felt bad, because that creative source, that God force, was telling me, you're on the right path, with believing that you're going to make it, because you are going to. I learned that family's important. I learned that the people surrounding you that show you love, that demonstrate that to you, that support you, those people are important, no matter the stupid crap that we think is minuscule, that we get in little arguments and stuff. Those people are important. I learned to have faith. I learned to believe in this presence that I didn't understand at the time. And again, as I got older, I realized that this presence was always guiding me, that this God force, this Godhead, this source of all that is, was moving me and was telling me, was whispering, keep going, keep going, Keep going. Don't you ever stop. Don't you ever stop for 1 second. I learned to focus. I learned to have my eyes on where I wanted to be, and I learned that if I had that intention, if I had that one focal point, that I just had to keep walking. You know, it's like that quote, you don't have to, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Or, you just have to, you have to see where you're going to be. You don't have to know how you're going to get there, but you have to be there in your mind and let your body and the rest of your life just take its course. Just keep walking. If you stop, that's okay. Take a breather, get your ass back up, and keep going. I learned to listen to that voice. It's taken me a long time, but I really learned to listen internally to what was happening here, not what was happening so much here, but I learned to listen here and let that guide me here. I learned that our bodies are miraculous, that our healing capabilities are, inconceivable. I looked like, at one point, a concentration victim. Granted, I'm not the biggest dude right now, but, I'm healthy, I'm active, I can move, I can run, I can do all types of, incredible things with my body. And it was all just a result of me consistently walking that path. I learned to be kind, because you never know when someone's really going through a battle. Oftentimes the people who are the most grumpy or the most angry or frustrated are dealing with the deepest battles internally. They could have this self-hate, they could have a sick child, they could have no money and they've got to do something to support their family, they could have just been diagnosed with a disease, a terminal disease, or a disease that the doctor says could never go away. I learned that you gotta smile. It's not necessary if you're not gonna smile. This world is so beautiful, and there's so many things to be grateful for and to smile at. The trees, to be able to witness the trees and the birds. Try getting stuck in a hospital for 2 months, not letting them, having them say you can't go outside because your immune system's compromised. As soon as you take those first steps outside, man, I'll tell you what, it's a totally different ballgame. You just see things differently. I learned that you've got to be grateful, even if it's for the little things, even if it's for the fact that you're still alive, even if it's for the fact that you can still walk, you can still see, you can still breathe, you can still talk, you can still hear, even if it's for those basic human functions through the senses. You've got to find something to be grateful for, and that gratitude will carry you through. Truly, gratitude is the key to living more abundantly. And that has nothing to do with money, it just has to do with living more abundantly. What kind of life did I want to lead? I learned that sweating the small stuff it's not worth it. It's so not worth it to sweat the small stuff, because eventually we're all going to die. We're all going to be out of here. And the small stuff doesn't matter. The little arguments you have with your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or kids or parents, it's all so silly, because you're not going to remember them in the long run. What you're going to remember is those times of joy that you experience with your family, those times of laughter, a time of complete connection and passion with your partner, or even just sitting on the couch and enjoying a movie, talking, a road trip, something. Those are the things that you're going to remember. You could even try that right now. Try to remember all the negative times in your life. You could eventually, but think about the really prominent things in your life you're going to remember. The big hurts or the big joys. And if you can focus on those joys, more joys will come. I learned that you got to dance. You've got to fucking dance it out. You got to forget about who's watching you and judging you, and you just got to do what you came to do. You've got to feel the music. I learned that music is healing. I learned that laughter is healing. I learned that you have the ability to affect another person's life in a positive way if you are determined to be the light. I learned that there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of people who are going through really tough times, and you'll never know it because they're never going to share it with you unless you ask. Unless you're soft enough here to really, really ask someone how they're doing and be honest and be authentic. You'll never know what somebody else is going through. You'll never know somebody else's struggle. I learned that this is just all a journey, that it's just a roller coaster. I learned that I had a choice. That I had a choice to say thank you every time I got a shot or a blood draw or somebody gave me my food, or I had a choice to be a dickhead and be angry and wallow in self-pity. Why me? I learned to question things. I learned to question the nature of reality. I learned to question why we get sick. I learned to question who I am. I learned to question, are we all connected? I learned to question if I'm here for a purpose. I learned to question what the substance of my cells and my soul is. I learned to question everything. And I learned that love is the answer. As corny as that sounds, it's all love. That's all that exists. That's all that there ever is. And I learned that I can connect with that. I can be that. And I can stay healthy. Or I can disconnect myself from that through my thoughts and my beliefs and my actions, my words. I can disconnect myself from that love. Maybe not disconnect, pinch it off. The water's still running through that hose, but man, I can sure kink it up, you know. Water's still going to want to pump through. The water's always turned on and it's trying to pump through, but I can kink it off, or I can let it go. And as soon as I let it go, that stream of love, of well-being, of joy, of gratitude, of appreciation, of God, it'll flow through and into my life. Yeah. I could probably say a lot more. We'll save that for the book. So I hope you guys, hope that made you think a little differently on stuff. You know, this day is I never get too nostalgic, but when I think back on being 14 years old and having overcome cancer twice at this point in my life, you know, I think, wow, I've lived quite a bit of life, and I have everything to be grateful for. Not only my health, but everything, you know. We have so much to be grateful for. And to think about the kids who suffered and they didn't lose their lives. So they reemerged back up into non-physical, you know. But they suffered a lot while they were here. And the parents that suffered so much and are still suffering as a result of not having their children here with them in this physical reality, it just kind of makes me, you know, want to share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed that. I love you guys. I appreciate you watching. If you like this, share it with someone else. Maybe it uplifts their day and makes them think a little bit differently about how they're living their lives. So as always, I'm you. You are me. We are one. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you shortly.